And we are live. Good evening, folks. Mobile Geezer here. Welcome to Friday Night Tech Talk. And if you're new here, we do this every Friday night. We take some articles about tech from the last week, from last Friday to this Friday. And I try to bring up articles that I think you guys will find interesting or that you may not have seen everywhere else, but they'd still be interesting. And hopefully we'll enjoy some discussion. And Eleanor was the first one in here a little while ago. So first one in, one of the most faithful, and right behind her, one of the others most faithful. Hey, Brian, glad to have you here, brother. And if you're new, please type something in the comments. Let us know you're here. Let us know where you're from, and feel free to take part in the discussion in the comments as we talk about, or as I go through the articles. Now, if Ted happens to show up, and here's our other most faithful one. Got Eleanor, Brian, and Annette. How can you get more faithful people than that? Glad you're here, Annette. Eleanor was first, Brian was second, and you're right behind him. So you guys are right on the ball and very, very much appreciated. So if Ted happens to come in, I will let you guys know. And of course, it's always a bit more interesting when we have Ted in here. But he's has a side photography business. He's in Dallas, and they probably have good enough weather for him to take some pictures right now. So I never know what he's doing. And of course, if by some miracle Mike and Will happen to pop in, that'd be awesome. Mike has been doing some videos. He's trying to get himself back into it, doing a pretty good job of it. And he has the Galaxy S25 Ultra, and he's making videos about it. So if you have a chance, pop over to Simply Your Device and check him out, because he's doing some good stuff over there. So, as I said, we go over some articles from the last week, every week. So I will show you the show notes, which is always on my webpage. I'll share that screen with you, and you can follow along in the show notes if you so desire. So if you go to mobilegeezer.wordpress.com, if you click on today's date, you'll get just the show notes for tonight's show. And as I always do when we're here, we'll do a little preview. Like I said, I try to find stuff interesting. If there's a big presentation during the week, of course, I try to get a story about that. And this was not a big presentation this week, but the Moto G Power 2025 was only released yesterday. Even though the story was written in January, I figured, okay, this is the time to put this out now. The Moto G Power was released in the U.S. Yesterday. So that's the story that I'll start with. Mike and I both tend to like Moto phones, and we both had let's see, he had, I think, last year's Moto G Power. I had the 2023. So, and of course, the budget phones, they do pretty good for budget phones. So that'll be the first story. Then, of course, we're going to talk about tariffs. Now, of course, President Trump did threaten Canada and Mexico with tariffs. Both of them immediately kind of gave in to what he wanted to do as far as protecting the border, and he's pushed their tariffs off for 30 days. So I'm guessing that was a negotiating tool. My guess is they probably won't be seeing any tariffs as long as they keep their word. But keep in mind, Trump put tariffs on China in his first administration, and back in 2019 or 2020. Then when Joe Biden came in, he put tariffs on top of Trump's. And now Trump has come back and added another 10% of tariffs to China's. So I said new China tariffs already costing American consumers more. And this is like the day it happened, right away, customers were getting notices that they had to pay more for something that was already shipped and already on the way. So that's a pretty interesting story. So to me, that was kind of the big story of the week. So we'll go over that. I found that one on Wired. And then this I just thought was a good story. I always give you these stories about the EU putting fines on American companies. Well, EU antitrust reversal gives a U.S. company money back for once. I found that on Tom's Hardware, so I said, well, let me report something good for a change. Then senators still trying to block young kids from social media. I found that story on The Verge. And just this week, this is totally bipartisan, and they're trying to protect kids 13 and under. Whether or not that's constitutional, I guess we'll find out. But they've been trying to get some kind of legislation to protect kids for quite a while. So, and following that up, iPhone SE4 unveiling is very close. I heard a rumor today that it's going to be Tuesday, so everybody knew it was coming. So I got that story on Digital Trends. And my last story, Google debuts 2 Super Bowl ads from the Verge. And I won't play them, but if you guys want, I'll put a link to each of those ads in the comments, and you can go look at it yourself, or you can just go to YouTube and look for Google Super Bowl ads. So those would be the stories we go over this week. And say nothing else new in the comments, so we will start there. And as I said, if Ted or anybody else happens to join, I will certainly let you guys know. So back up top, Moto G and Moto G Power 2025 now available in the US. I found it on Tom's Guide. So, and this was printed, this was written January 14th, but because of yesterday's release in the US, I decided to put it up now. Moto G and Moto G Power 2025 editions arrive. Here's what you get for less than $300, and I think both phones are well worth the price. It was written by Josh Render, like I said, the 14th of January. Power at a reasonable price. And yes, I think what you're paying for these phones is always going to certainly be worth the money. So let's drop it into Reader View and get rid of the ads. A new year brings new entries to Motorola's Moto G range, and we've got the first editions of 2025 to the budget phone lineup, each one designed with a specific user in mind. The Moto G 2025 is the least expensive of the 2 new models, starting at $199 in the US. Can't beat that, I don't think. With a large screen and stereo speakers supported by Dolby Atmos and Bass Boost, it's a low-cost option aimed at people who consume a lot of streaming video and music on their mobile device. And I think for that price, yeah, that's a great phone for people like that. Meanwhile, an AI-powered camera system that features a 50-megapixel main camera with a 2-megapixel macro lens looks to provide dependable image capture features for users on a budget. The other new model, the Moto G Power, and if I get one, that's probably what I'll get, and I think the same is probably true of Nike. The Moto G Power 2025 is the latest entry in Motorola's line of long-lasting budget devices. Like 2024's Moto G Power, this new $299 edition offers a 5,000 milliamp battery and wireless charging. That's pretty good for $300. The screen size has increased slightly to 6.8 inches, and Motorola has added MIL standard 810H certification and IP68 and IP69. So not only can you dunk it, you can have it, you probably put it in a dishwasher and it would be fine. Water resistance, a feature that's usually limited to much more expensive handsets. I agree. Yeah, I have that on my OnePlus 13. And they actually did in the demos, actually put it in a dishwasher. It was fine. You'll always have to be prepared to make compromises when buying a cheap phone. However, if you don't need a high-end processor, both new Moto G phones feature MediaTek's Dimensity 6300 chipset and don't require the latest bells and whistles. You can find some benefits to a lower cost device beyond its price tag. I agree. For example, the Motorola G5G 2024 remains on our best phone battery life list, ranking as the longest lasting phone we've tested in the last 18 months. That's pretty good for a cheap phone. Motorola states that it has worked to improve the camera output in the new models. However, at a glance, it appears as though the new phone shares the same hardware with the 2024 models. Now, that's interesting because when we get down to the end, they're talking about the cameras being better. So hard to say whether that's true or not. The real upgrade comes in the form of several AI-backed features such as shot optimization, Google Lens integration, Google Photos Auto Enhance, and Auto Night Vision. I would think that should help. I'm thinking the 2024 versions didn't have at least those three. And then, of course, they give you the specs, which if you guys want to look at them, you can just take a look at the article yourself. Annual releases also give Motorola a chance to upgrade from previous editions for the phone. In the case of the new Moto G Power, for instance, Motorola says it's upgraded the camera experience. We hope that's true since camera performance was one of our complaints about the 2024 model. So let's hope that is true. I went too far. The Moto G 2025 goes on sale in the U.S. on January 30th, which that was the basic one, but the Power just came out yesterday in the U.S. And you'll be able to buy the $199 phone from Motorola, Amazon, Best Buy. Later, and I guess it's probably true now since we're at February 7th, Motorola says the phone will be available from T-Mobile, Metro by T-Mobile, AT&T, Cricket, Straight Talk, Total Wireless, Walmart for Verizon, Boost Mobile, Xfinity Mobile, Consumer Cellular, Google Fi Wireless, Spectrum US Cellular, and Optimum Mobile. So lots of choices. The Moto G Power arrived February 6th. And like I said, it did arrive yesterday at Motorola, Amazon, and Best Buy. So you can pick them up right now at any of those three. Carrier availability for the $299 phone will come later at T-Mobile. You see the list there. I'm not going to read the whole thing again. Finding good cheap phones that offer a great set of features without breaking the bank can be a challenge. However, the Moto G 2025 and the Moto G Power 2025 look set to challenge for a place on our best cheap phones list if they can offer more than great battery life. For now, keep an eye out for our review to see how these two phones measure up. So, like I said, I may pick up the Moto G Power. We'll have to wait and see. And Mike, I'm sure, is considering it also. As soon as it came out yesterday, he was texting about it. So, anybody interested in a good budget phone? Those are two good budget phones. Okay, nothing else new in the comments. We will go down to what to me was the big story. New China tariffs already costing American consumers more, and I found this on Wired. So let's take a look. And of course, you guys know that if it's just me, it's going to be a quicker rather than longer night. So just be aware of that. So, second story. U.S. shoppers face fees of up to $50 or more to get packages from China. And like I say, this was, I think, the day after it went into effect. Consumers and small businesses are already feeling the impact of President Donald Trump's new tariffs, which eliminated a key trade exemption for parcels worth less than $800. Before, if it was worth less than $800, they didn't have to pay. Now that's changed. Oh, and this was from February 5th, so 2 days ago. And let's drop it into Reader View. Adhering to the new rules is also proving to be a major lift for U.S. Customs and Border Protection and the U.S. Postal Service. The latter briefly stopped accepting packages from China and Hong Kong altogether on Tuesday. Yeah, I heard about that in a few places, as it scrambled to manage the deluge of packages from China that was suddenly subjected to more thorough inspection. So the packages are sitting in there, sitting at the Postal Service, but now they had to do a whole bunch of different verifications on the packages that didn't have all these tariffs on them minutes earlier. CPB published guidance on Wednesday warning the public that packages sent from China to the U.S. must now be submitted for formal entry. I guess that's one of the great differences. A process that involves providing extensive documentation, including about the value of the parcel's contents, and comes with higher processing fees. And people were trying to beat that deadline because they knew it was coming. But it didn't matter. If it was sitting here already and it hadn't been delivered yet, it went into effect immediately. And they're even looking for people that work at Shine or Temu, and they'd like to hear from them. For now, it seems like shipping companies are shouldering the bulk of the burden created by the new trade rules, and not all of them are happy about it. In response to Trump's tariffs, two logistics carriers, DHL Hong Kong, I think DHL is about the biggest in the world too, and the Hong Kong Post have announced they will no longer accept individual packages shipped to the United States. So this is real serious, especially to small business owners. The owner of a trucking company based in Alberta, Canada, told Wired that he plans to pay for the duties out of pocket first and charge clients afterwards. Hopefully the clients will go along with it and not make it come out of his pocket, because it's certainly not his fault. The elimination of the $800 duty-free exemption is expected to hit Chinese low-cost shopping platforms like Shine and Temu the hardest. But many smaller e-commerce sellers have also felt the burn. Yeah, those two sell a lot of stuff very, very cheap, and now they have to pay duty on $800, even if it's $10. Brands selling mechanical keyboards, underwear, and tea have all notified their customers of potential shipment pauses and price increases in response to the tariffs, according to screenshots shared on Reddit. So even if you had already ordered it and paid for it, they're going to want to charge you more, because otherwise they're going to get stuck with it, even though it's in the middle of being processed. Miguel Strader, owner of a Canadian board game accessory company, says several of his customers have been asked by UPS to pay for heavy import duties for products made in China. His company sources products from Chinese manufacturers but ships them out of Canada. A number of them do that. Still, they have been slapped with surprise import duties. In one example, Schrader shared with Wired, the customer placed a $30 order on Friday before the tariffs were announced, and has now been asked by UPS to pay $52.22 to receive the package, even though it was halfway there or on its way there already, which is over 170% of the item's original price. That's a shame. He says that until the new tariffs went into effect, he always shipped packages to the U.S. customers duty-free. He actually encouraged his customers to place orders before last weekend to try and avoid the charge. That didn't stop it, though, but still ended up getting hit with fees. Schrader says he talked to his usual contact at UPS, who told him that there are hundreds of thousands of packages being held up for the same reason. Can you imagine the chaos inside those places? It sounds like they don't have the system set up in place yet. Well, they didn't give them much time to properly handle this, Schrader says, referring specifically to UPS's ground shipping system. They are just charging everyone the equivalent fees as if it was an $800 item. That's a shame. That's possibly why people are being charged such high fees on such low-cost items. They did mention that they are looking at fixing that, but they're not promising anything. Yeah, there's going to have to be some programming going into some of this stuff. Schrader expects to lose money from this chaos because customers can refuse to pay the import fees and have the items returned at the seller's expense. As a result, he plans to temporarily suspend sales to the U.S. Boy, I feel sorry for these people. One complicating factor for some small business owners is that Trump's tariffs target the original country where the products were manufactured. Yeah, get this, which means it doesn't matter if items produced in China have been sitting in another country for years before reaching the U.S. My problem is that used clothing often has the label missing or ineligible, says Brown, the second-hand clothing business owner. Like many other people, Brown says his packages were turned away at the U.S.-Canadian border on Tuesday. He can file for formal entry and try shipping the products to the U.S. again, but he says it will cost too much money and time. I totally agree with him. For the immediate future, I'm pulling all made-in-China items off. That's got to be the majority of his stuff, wouldn't you think? Wow. And placing my platforms in vacation mode to prevent sales. It's extreme, but it's the only fair choice for my customers, I feel. Yeah, so just a matter of timing, but who would have thought that it would hit while your packages are already on their way? But it did. So just thought that was a pretty important story to get out there. Hey, nothing new in the comments, so we will continue on. This is my feel-good story of the week, and maybe the feel-good story of the year, at least when it comes to the EU and American companies. EU antitrust reversal gives a U.S. company money back for once. And I found this on Tom's Hardware. And this is from 4 days ago. Intel receives $536 million payment from EU following antitrust fine reversal. And this case has gone on for a long time by Kunal Kular, I think, published February 3rd. Some moral victory for Team Blue. So let's go into review and get rid of these ads. Intel has secured a $536 million payout from the European Commission following a lengthy legal battle over an antitrust fine, get this, dating back to 2009. This payment covers interest on the original $1.1 billion penalty, which the EU's second highest court largely annulled in 2022. So it was a $1.1 billion fine. The court got rid of most of it 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, but not all of it. The case stemmed from the European Commission's ruling that Intel had engaged in anti-competitive practices between 2002 and 2007. The Commission fined the U.S. chip giant for allegedly using rebates to discourage computer manufacturers from purchasing chips from its rival AMD. However, in 2022, the General Court of the European Union found significant flaws in the Commission's economic analysis and overturned most of the fine, leaving only a $386 million portion standing. And now they're getting that back. Following the annulment, Intel sought to recover interest on the original sum it had paid. As per a report by Reuters, EU antitrust chief Teresa Ribera confirmed that Intel has been awarded $536 million as interest payment, marking a significant victory for the company in its prolonged battle with EU regulators. Yes, I guess it was a significant, especially after all that time. Intel had originally challenged the fine in 2014. And while the case saw multiple legal twists and appeals, the ultimate ruling in 2022 largely vindicated the company's position. The European Commission had argued that Intel's rebates were anti-competitive, but the court ruled that the Commission had failed to sufficiently prove their negative impact on the competition. So I'm glad they got the last of their money back. And like I said, that's my feel-good story this week. You don't see the EU having to give back money to big American companies very often. So that was pretty cool, I thought. Brian says, Intel needs all the help they can get. Yeah, Intel has been in a lot of trouble lately. And the AMD and who else? Jensen Huang's company. They have been killing Intel. And, with Apple making their own chips and now Google making their own chips, yeah, Intel needs all the help they can get. I totally agree, Brian. So, anyway, they got a little bit of monetary help that time. So, nice to see that. Okay. My next one. Senators still trying, and the reason I said still, because they've been trying for years to protect kids. Still trying to block young kids from social media, and this was on The Verge. So let's go there. Another bill wants to ban kids from social media. The Kids Off Social Media Act would prevent kids under 13 from creating social media accounts. And I think that's a pretty reasonable age for that type of thing. But is it constitutional? I don't think anybody knows this yet. And this is from yesterday and was by Emma Roth, who writes a lot of their articles. So let's go into review. Lawmakers' efforts to limit the use of social media by kids are continuing into 2025 with the Kids Off Social Media Act. The bill, which would prevent kids under 13 from creating social media accounts, advanced to the Senate Commerce Committee on Wednesday, as reported earlier by Politico. So it's only 2 days ago, and it's very much bipartisan. Senators Brian Schatz, Democrat from Hawaii, and Ted Cruz, Republican Texas, introduced the bill, positioning it as a way to curb the unprecedented mental health crisis affecting young people. And I've seen lots and lots and lots of videos about young people who really do have this mental health crisis. And you see a lot of videos from people in their 20s who are having mental health issues also. So it's somewhat of a very real thing. Along with restricting kids' access to social media, it would also prevent companies from using recommendation algorithms for users under 17. That's probably good, I think. While requiring schools to limit social media on their networks. The bill would give the Federal Trade Commission and state attorneys general the ability to enforce these rules. But seeing would require schools. Now, this is a federal bill that requires, but if Trump gets rid of the education department, there won't be any federal bill, I wouldn't think. So very complicated stuff here. So instead of forcing users to present a form of ID to verify their age or requiring parental consent, Cosmo would ask social platforms to use existing data about users to estimate their age. That's going to be a mess. An age verification method that likely won't always get things right. Yeah. The guessing is going to be in some measure inaccurate. Kate Ruane, director of the Free Expression Project at the Center for Democracy and Technology, said in an interview with New York University about this form of age verification. I used to work a few blocks away from New York University. And even if that measure is like by percentages, very small, there's still millions of people. I mean, that's still millions of people, lots of people who are going to be misjudged. Yeah, I think having them use their records to try to get the verification on age is probably not going to work out well. In response to heightened security of child safety online, Meta launched its tools to scan for signals that someone may be lying about their age. I wonder how that'll work. Lawmakers are trying to take things into their own hands with new bills cropping up across the U.S. and some coming into effect. So I'm sure it's in some states, and now they're trying to do a federal. Senator Brian Schatz says COSMA is meant to complement the Federal Kids Online Safety Act and the Children and Teens Online Privacy Protection Act. I didn't even know about those two, both of which the Senate passed last year. NetChoice, the trade association backed by Meta, Amazon, Google, Snap. Now get this, these companies backing this group that's going to go against this law. So backed by Meta, Amazon, Google, Snap, and others, is pushing back against COSMA, saying the bill creates serious cybersecurity risks, undermines parental rights and autonomy, and violates the Constitution. And they may be right about that. That's what we're going to have to find out in court. But it's just funny that asking the companies to verify the kid's age, and the companies are probably against it in the first place. So very interesting stuff here. The Trade Association has taken legal action against similar legislation, and in many cases, it has successfully blocked laws from taking effect. It's probably not constitutional, at least in a lot of judges' minds. So very interesting case. And yes, I'd like to see kids get protected to some degree too, but now you've got to bounce it against the Constitution. It's very tough. And then you've got the companies who are asked to enforce it backing up the other side. So it's going to be messy, I would think. Brian says, social media is like ice cream. It's good, but it should be consumed sparingly. Don't know why, but as soon as you said it like that, my mind went straight to Forrest Gump. It sounds like something Forrest Gump would say because it's so sensible. Anyway, very true. All right. So let me get out of this one. That's going to be in court a lot, I would think. And Ted is in here. Ted, are you here?
Social media is like ice cream.
Exactly.
Good, but you gotta eat it in small amounts.
But Brian said it makes so much sense, but it does sound like something he would say. How are you, sir?
All right.
Talk a little more. Your mic is garbling up, I think.
Garlic.
Yeah, very much so.
Yes, that's garbage.
Okay, try it again. I think it's okay. Try it again.
Better?
Yes, much better. You did something.
No, I didn't do anything. Maybe it just took a while for my Wi-Fi to adjust.
Oh, could be. Anyway, I thought the ice cream comment was perfect, Brian.
It is.
So everything good with you?
Yep.
Oh, I think I should sound a little bit better because I finally put a boom on my mic, and I think it should make my sound a little bit better. So I hope that's true. And we're not going to get to see your face again, I gather.
This is go in the closet.
And garbling and scratching this is back on your microphone. Interestingly, when I hear myself and it's all scratchy, and that's when you get scratchy. But when I don't hear myself when I'm talking on yours, it's fine. So I don't know what the deal is. But try it again. I think we're okay again. Give me a sentence.
Maybe it only works one at a time.
That's not the impression I get, but I guess it's possible. Anyway, you want to take the iPhone SE story? Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, I said, you want to take the iPhone SE story?
No.
No. Okay. Then I guess I will do it. Okay. iPhone SE4 unveiling is very close on Digital Trends. Now, I put the story on my webpage last night, but I've already seen one or two videos. I didn't get a chance to look at them. That's saying it's going to be Tuesday. So keep that in mind. So I found this on Digital Trends. So let's go check it out. Apple expected to unveil iPhone SE4 in the coming days. Published yesterday by Trevor Magg. So let me drop this into reader view. Okay. Apple is set to unveil the long-awaited iPhone SE4 in the coming days, according to prominent Apple tipster Mark Gurman, who's almost never wrong. In an article for Bloomberg posted on Thursday, Gurman said that the company expects to announce the device as early as next week, ahead of it going on sale later in the month. So keep in mind, most of people are now saying Tuesday, so watch out for it. And it's not going to be a presentation. You'll find out in the article. Citing people with knowledge of the matter, he added that the tech giant appears unlikely to hold a launch event, or no events, for the new SE phone, which is being updated for the first time in 3 years. Instead, expect a press release, a video on Apple's YouTube channel, and a flurry of new articles. So very low key. Gurman noted that supplies of the current iPhone SE have dwindled at many Apple retail stores, which is a strong sign that the new phone is close to launch. We don't have any details on pricing yet. The current version of Apple's most affordable phone costs $429, though there have been reports that the new SE could hit shelves for a bit more, possibly $499, which would make sense coming from $429 3 years ago, making it $300 less than the regular iPhone 16. So still a pretty good buy, I guess. The iPhone SE4 will be the first in the series to feature a full display, possibly measuring 6.1 inches, up on the 4.7-inch display on the 2022 model. And I did have that model. Yeah, I did have that model, and it was small. And Touch ID will be replaced by Face ID, because all the other phones have that already. Other changes will include a transition to USB-C, replacing the Lightning connector. And I think the SE was the only one that still had the Lightning connector. Notably, the new phone is also expected to come with a faster chip, the A18, giving owners access to at least some Apple Intelligence features, for what it's worth, I would say. We can also expect to see a better camera and improved battery life, making it a powerful proposition for those wanting an iPhone without spending top dollar. And by the way, it's not in here, but don't look for multiple cameras. I gather there's only one camera again. So let me get out of here. Hey, Don's in here. Let's see. First. Hey, Don. Glad you're here, brother. Yeah, you took the time out to stop by. And Brian said, will the iPhone SE4 have Apple Intelligence? Yeah, it's saying it'll have some because they're going with the A18 chip. But keep in mind, now I have the iPhone 15 Pro Max. So if you had the iPhone 15 Pro Max or any iPhone 16, you theoretically have the Apple Intelligence features. But we're all finding that, it's not much. It's and they keep pushing back when Siri is going to be updated. So, and that's where we all expect the most AI features to come to the iPhone. So, yeah, everybody's still pretty disappointed about that, including me. That's right. And Brian said, "Isn't there a RAM requirement?" Yeah, there is a RAM requirement, and that's why I own the iPhone 15 Pro Max Pros, and the iPhone 16s have it. But I gather from what this article says, it's going to have the right RAM, enough RAM to make some AI available. But since in last week's article, I said that Siri AI was going to, now they're talking about pushing it all the way back to 2026. I think they have lots of time to fix things up, but people are very disappointed about the whole thing, and I am too. So, have you been keeping up with this stuff, Ted?
Yep.
Oh, only have one story left. Now I've got one story left. Are you going to read that one, or you want me to do it? The Super Bowl.
I'll read it. Yeah, I'll read it.
All right, let me pull it up. Now I'm not going to play the ads, but if you guys want, I will put links in the comments. You guys can probably copy them from the comments, or you can just go on YouTube and look for the Super Bowl ads. But let me pull it up. So I just said Google debuts 2 Super Bowl ads. Again, from The Verge. And I hope your mic doesn't act up. All right, whenever you're ready.
All right. Oh,
Now your mic is garbling. Your mic is garbling up again right away as soon as you start talking. It seems to be cutting in and out. I don't know why. Oh, Brian, thank you. You're always so faithful, sir, and always very much appreciated. All right, I guess I'm going to have to read it because yours it straightens out and then it goes garbled again. Then it straightens out and goes garbled again. So I don't know what the issue is there. Anyway, this will be the last story.
Thanks,
So I
Brian.
said, The Verge. Google's Gemini Super Bowl ads push AI as a tool you can use every day. The ads highlight the very different ways you can use Gemini, and I'm a pretty big admirer of Gemini, whether you want to talk to yourself about parenting or learn football lingo. Let's go into read view. Oh, before I put it in read view, let me go down. I'm going to copy the URL. I'll stick it in the comments. That's the first one. All right, so that is now in the comments. And let me go get the second one, copy that URL. Okay, and I'll stack in the comments. Now, you're not going to be able to click on it, but you should be able to copy it, paste it into your browser, and go look at these commercials. They are kind of interesting, kind of cute, I thought. All right, so let's get over to the article. Read a view. Google debuted a pair of new Super Bowl commercials that portray AI as a technology that's as central to people's lives as the phone or computer they access it on. But like some of Google's other Super Bowl ads, the company is once again attempting to make you pull out your tissues between plays. The first ad, titled Dream Job, depicts a man using the Gemini Live voice mode on his Pixel phone to prepare for a job interview. After Gemini asks him to talk about the job that mattered to you most, the man begins detailing what he's learned after becoming a parent. And now the sappy stuff, I think, comes in. Mostly the man basically just talks to himself the entire time. Gemini takes a backseat through most of the ad, as it's simply shown listening and offering suggestions between scenes of the man raising his daughter, which even shows the family dog on death's door. Talk about pulling at the heartstrings. And then it lightens up a bit. The next ad, called Party Blitz, similarly highlights Gemini on Pixel, but it takes on a much more lighthearted tone. A man uses the AI chatbot's voice mode to learn more about football and come up with phrases he can use to impress his date's family before they tune into the big game together, like yelling pass interference at the TV. A little corny, yeah, I'd say so, but at least it's not using a dying dog to tug at your heartstrings. That's true. Despite the shift in tone, it seems like Google is really trying to position its AI assistant as a helpful conversational partner, and that kind of is that you can interact with every day, making conducting a regular search on Google seem mundane. And it does. Once you've done the talking back and forth with it, the regular Google search does seem kind of boring. The company also highlighted its AI tools and workspace in a series of ads, so this is mostly for business users, highlighting small businesses throughout the U.S., though one of them showed an incorrect stat, why am I not surprised, in a Gemini response. And let me say that, like I said, I'm somewhat of a fan of Gemini, and I find most of the answers are accurate. So, but I guess they still make an occasional mistake, and they all do. They all hallucinate. So it's just how it is. So, like I said, you guys can copy and paste it into your browser and go look at them, or just go on YouTube and look for them. But they're kind of nice. So, all right, Ted, try talking once again. I'm not hearing myself. It's only when I hear myself back through your mics that you mess up. I'm not hearing it now, so I think you should be good to talk.
Good.
Okay. Sorry you couldn't read that last one.
Probably, but it wasn't anything spectacular anyway.
Well, that's true. So how's the photography business coming? You've been out with it this week?
Oh yes, that's the
Okay.
photo. We just had the largest photography convention in America here in the DFW.
Oh, okay. Now your mic went out for a minute, but it came right back and it was fine. So we got to hear everything you said.
Yeah.
So how this happens every year in Dallas?
No, 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 not every year. They move it around. It's from the Professional Photographers Association. It's called
Okay.
Imaging USA. So next year
So
it's
you
gonna
just got
it
lucky
moves
this year,
around.
I gather.
Yeah, it moves around. So next year is actually gonna be in Nashville.
Oh, okay.
I
That's
think
only 2.5 hours from me. I could drive there. Well,
I think it's in
that's
Nashville.
cool. So I'm
Yeah,
glad you're getting some. I'm
Nashville.
glad you're getting some business. So it turns out, I guess the expense of the two new cameras were kind of worth it, or beginning to be worth it. I would think. Yes.
Nah.
Not yet.
Not yet.
It'll
The
pay off.
yeah.
Just stick with it.
But the between the Texas Gear Festival and this imaging, I'm getting more comfortable to take out the newer camera outside now to
Oh,
use
very
it.
good. Now, what did you say? The Texas what?
Gear Festival.
What is that?
Um, they call it the Texas Gear Showcase, but it's a showcase held by this production company to sell
Okay.
gear.
I'm trying to think of a bad pun, but I can't think of one, which is unusual for me.
Yeah.
Everybody's probably applauding. Yay, George couldn't think of a pun. Anyway, all right. So I'm glad you're getting to use the camera because that's the one you were shying away from, right?
Right.
Okay, good, good. So I'm sure as your confidence builds, the business will come. And
Yeah.
how's things with the bike going to work?
Oh my gosh, the bike. This week the basket broke. Like the bracket that's holding in place, like the metal
Now,
broke.
is it a rear basket or a front basket?
It's a front basket, and I had
Okay,
nothing on.
and it broke all by itself.
Yep.
Wow. All right, so but you could still ride. I mean, do you have to have that when you go to work?
Yeah, I can still write it just fine. The
Okay.
only really nagging part is the light. Like the light actually goes on the basket, so now
Uh-huh.
I gotta find a way to get the light back on it.
But
But
you realize you just freed me now because now I can say you are literally a basket case.
but yeah, luckily, they're gonna send me a new basket and some touch-up paint.
Oh, good, good, good. I like a company that takes responsibility. That's a very good thing.
I'm just worried about it happening again. That's a no. That's the. Ugh.
Now, remember, don't throw any balls in it because it's not made for basketball. Okay. You know what? Elmer tells people, don't laugh. You'll only encourage him. And that's very true. Anyway, I'm glad I was able to get that out. So I think
How
that's
about
about it. You
things
got
in
anything else you
Chattanooga?
want to tell the people tonight?
Anything happened nice in Chattanooga?
Nothing special. My car's giving me a little bit of trouble and it's in the shop, but my car's 9
Not
years
the
old. So,
journeyman.
huh?
The journeyman?
Countryman, yes. But keep in mind, it's a 2016, so it's 9 years old. And what happened was there's a turbo, and when you stop, this has its own fluid to cool down that turbo. Well, that broke. Well, it's 9 years old, so I guess it's it cracked. So you have to expect that kind of thing at 9 years old. So I'll have it back by Tuesday, but thank God Eleanor's letting me use her car just to a degree to make things functional. So everything is good.
Okay. Oh.
Oh, and I know I had you guys praying for Eleanor's cold and her being sick for those two and a half weeks, but she's all better now. So thanks for the prayers, everybody, and the
Yeah,
well wishes.
that's
So,
good. There's a flu just whipping through here.
Yeah, well, I gather what she had has been all around the country because I've seen people in videos that had all the same symptoms that she talked about.
Yep,
So
it's been taken
whatever
off
this is, it's gone around the country, and it's been around over a month, I think now.
the chickens. No one is safe. Eggs are all still in the
Oh
house.
yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, we went to Walmart last week. There were no eggs in the entire store, and then she went to another store, Aldi. Or maybe she went to Aldi, and there were no eggs in there at all. But she said her friend was went to another Food City, I think it was, and she said there were eggs there, and I said I'd be afraid to buy the eggs since everybody else is afraid to put them out. So I don't think I would be buying eggs right now. And Eleanor said they were in the store. The girl said they were 4 or 5 times the normal price. So other than eggs, I guess I guess if we don't eat the eggs and planes stop running into each other, I guess we'll be okay.
Yeah. Amongst other things.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I felt. Did you catch my second story about the tariffs that Trump put on China?
Yep.
Yeah, I felt so bad, especially for the people selling this stuff and importing it from China. But it's not their fault. But I mean, this stuff just hit the very next day while this stuff was en route. So, but I mean, Trump used Canada and Mexico as making the deal, but this isn't the deal. This is just the whole China thing, and I just feel bad for people. But hopefully everything will work itself out.
I'm surprised we didn't do a story about the Red Note.
Oh, we did a story about Red Note last week. And keep in mind, I've been doing stories all along about what do you call it?
TikTok.
No, not TikTok. About the hot new large language model. What's the one?
Oh, a DeepSeek?
Yeah, DeepSeek. Yeah, I've been doing DeepSeek stories all along. This is
I saw you did a separate video on that.
Yeah. And there's still DeepSeek stories. I'm still seeing all kinds of videos that it got hacked, and it got hacked bunches of times, and it's not safe. But it's better than ChatGPT for 1/10 of the price, and so there's opinions all over the place here. So I think it'll be a while before any of us are sure about DeepSeek either way. That's my impression. Because I keep seeing, people who work in AI, and they seem to be split down the middle on it too. And, I have a programming background, but no AI background. So these people don't seem to be sure if it's real bad or real good either. So I think it's going to be a while before we actually find out. And I also saw a story. I didn't write anything about it or put anything up about it, but I also saw a story that Alibaba, in response to DeepSeek, their model, I forgot the name of it, they put theirs up, and it's supposed to be better than DeepSeek. So, and I guess cheap too. I'm not sure. But anyway, so it's still a big deal. And nobody's still sure what's going on with DeepSeek, other than the fact that it affects stock markets, and I gather it's pretty good for what it does. But is it safe? Who knows? So that's all I know. But I wouldn't be surprised if I ended up doing another story about if something big happens. If not, maybe we're done with it for now. So I guess we're done, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Now your mic is acting. Your mic keeps going in and out, but I guess it's okay to keep talking because it comes right back and is normal again. All right, folks. So we are done, and thank God Ted did come in, even though we had some problems with his microphone. It's always better with Ted than without him. So I will be back next week if we're lucky. Maybe Ted will be back too. And Brian, you have a great weekend also. And all of you guys, thanks for coming in. Thanks for everything, for your faithfulness. Eleanor, Brian, Annette, all of you guys. And Don. I know Don's busy, and I'm always grateful when he comes. And Don's close to you. He's in Plano, or
Oh,
what's north of
oh
Plano?
yeah.
I think he's in the town just above Plano. But anyway, I know you guys are close together. Anyway, yeah, he follows Eric a lot on what's his name, out of New Orleans.
Easy. Oh, okay.
Easy, yeah, he follows Easy a lot too. Even on Telegram, they oh, his Don says McKinney. That's where Don is. That's not far from Dallas, right?
That's far from everything. That's far up north.
Oh, is it? Okay. Well, Don had moved to Oklahoma for a year or two, but he's moved back in the last few months. So,
Any further than McKinney, you'll be in Oklahoma.
so is McKinney out in the country?
It's not country. I mean, it's a nice big town. Yeah,
Okay, yeah. See, that's the only place I know well. I know a little bit about Dallas, and of course, I worked in Addison, and for those few months, I lived in Carrollton. So that's pretty much all I know.
Like McKinney's the last town before you enter the rural north.
Oh, okay. Makes sense, I guess. All right, well, it's a nice town. Thanks, Don, for being here. Thanks to all of you guys. And I'll be back next week, and maybe Ted will be back next week. So I hope everybody has a very blessed weekend. And let's always remember, we all do better when we love each other. And we are ending.